Coming up in this episode of iCantCU, I'll tell you all about our trip to Harrisburg and the governor's mansion to talk to the First Lady of Pennsylvania all about web accessibility. Stick with me.
From Studio B in Swarthmore, this is the iCantCU podcast with David. It's like blind people for dummies.
Hello there, and welcome to another episode of iCantCU. My name is David, at David Benj on all the socials. Thank you so much for joining me today, and welcome inside Studio B. And if you take a look over my right shoulder, you will notice a cash register from 1968. We had it when we bought the beauty business called Salon Supplies and Interiors. I didn't think we still had it, but Liz's sister is moving, and that was in her basement. We had a lot of stuff in her basement, I'm not going to lie, which we have since shredded or brought inside or done something with or just gotten rid of. But that is one of the cool things. Now, we also, before we got rid of Salon Supplies and Interiors after we closed, we had a safe from 1906. And it was on our box truck, and the box truck got stolen. 18 months after it was stolen, and long after the insurance company made us whole, the box truck appeared in the parking lot where it was stolen from. We don't know how long it was back sitting there. Just that was kind of weird. But in any event, we don't have the safe anymore because the insurance company owned it, but we do have the cash register that's sitting back there. And as I said to Liz when I looked it up, as she read some of the information off of it, I said, oh, it was made in 1968, just like you. That's when she was born. But I do have something very important to talk about today, and that's web accessibility. Now, in this instance, it was actually for a great event. We were invited, the NFB of PA was invited to send a few folks to the governor's mansion for what they call Lori Listens. Lori Shapiro is the wife of Governor Josh Shapiro here in Pennsylvania, and she does this from time to time where she invites people to the mansion to go over specific items that are important. I don't know if it's always accessibility issues or disability issues, but for us, it was web accessibility, and more importantly, it was the website, or websites, I should say, of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We had to look at one site and go over everything with it. Was it accessible? Did the screen reader read it properly? And coming up, I'll show you what inaccessible or sites that are less than 100% accessible, and let's face it, most sites are less than 100% accessible. There's always something. Sometimes it's minor, like a button not being labeled. Other times it's some sort of overlay that's blocking what you need to click on, but you can't get past it because there's no X button to close and get to it. But I'll talk about that, and I'll show you a couple of demonstrations coming up. But this was so cool. So we went to the governor's mansion, and we got to meet with the First Lady and a few other folks, and we talked about a specific website, and I honestly don't remember what the site was. But what was very interesting with the site, it said, you have 3 options here to blah, 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 and there were only 2 options. I thought I was doing something wrong, and once I conferred with Simon, who was one of the other folks testing it, and Lisa, who was another one testing it, we thought we were all doing something wrong because we couldn't find what we needed to find to fill out a form. It just wasn't there, and it turns out it wasn't there. So they changed the wording, and they actually made changes almost immediately. The next day or the day after that, they made changes after we were there. But we talked about a lot of things. And as I've mentioned countless times here, it's very frustrating to folks who are blind and visually impaired when they get to a site and they're trying to make a purchase or they're trying to look up information and things just don't work. The screen reader doesn't read something properly because it's not labeled right, or there are multiple ads and other things going on. And I'll show a couple of what I mean, a couple of demonstrations in a few minutes. But there are some times when there are video ads on a web page that you will hear a countdown clock. Now, if a countdown clock is talking, saying 10 seconds remain, 9 seconds remain, 8 seconds remain, it's busy reading that, and it can't read the article that you're trying to read. And so, and there's other things that go on where you'll just hear a constant dunk, 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 as you're also listening to the content on the page. In that instance, on a good day, if you can concentrate, you can kind of block out those dunk, 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 dunk. And I don't have a demonstration of that. But when I come to the next site that I do that comes with that, I will certainly show you. But that's what we talked about. And there was another gentleman there named Terrence who was leading everything and asking us questions. Besides Lisa and Simon and I, Lynn Heitz was there, the president of the NFB of PA. Chris Westbrook was there. Preston Gaylor was there. And there was another gentleman named Nick who actually works for the state. And he talked about similar issues with websites and whatnot. He had interned with the state, and he's probably a couple of years older than Simon. So he's very young. He just graduated within the last year or two. I'll get to see him again. He's coming to our state convention in a couple of weeks in Erie. But it was a very interesting and fulfilling day, not because we got to meet the First Lady, and I don't want to understate how cool that was, but the fact that we were there and someone was listening to us with what problems we have with websites and with accessibility in whether it's email or, like I said, websites or apps. There's a whole bunch of things that go on. And it's just very frustrating to us. And in some instances, as I'll show you in a couple of minutes, where I got an email from Ticketmaster and I thought, oh, I'd like to go see that band, Almost Monday. And I clicked on the link, or I should say I tapped on the link. And then when I got to the page, I couldn't open up when and where they were going to be in Philadelphia. I could pull up some other things on that page, but it wasn't that band and it was not in Philadelphia. Now, we each had a little different task. My task was to do it on the Mac. Simon's task was to do it on the iPhone. I think Chris and Lisa both did it with JAWS, and I think Preston also did it with JAWS. Now, JAWS is the leading, maybe it's not the leading. I kind of think it is. If you want a job and you're blind or visually impaired and you need a screen reader, JAWS is the one. Job access with speech is what JAWS stands for, not the shark. Although it obviously leads to a lot of cool things when you're talking about JAWS, and you can think of a dorsal fin and the music and whatnot. But we all had pretty much the same results with the Commonwealth web pages. And we talked about other issues that we've encountered, whether, again, applications on our phones or tablets or websites on various computers, tablets, phones, whatever the case may be. Ellen Strom put everything together, and I don't know if the First Lady reached out to her or how it all came down. But again, very cool. We got to the governor's residence and, we walked through the metal detector. They searched anybody that brought a bag in, and some of the folks who did their work on laptops brought their laptops in. I obviously didn't bring my 32-inch screen and my Mac Mini. The Mac Mini was small enough. I certainly could have unhooked that, I guess, and brought it. But I didn't. Most of the stuff was quote unquote homework that we all did from home and then gave our reports afterwards. So we go in and they actually had some things to eat, and it was great because they had blueberries and they had some other fruits and things like that. It was actually really good. But the funny thing was, Lisa and Simon and I had walked over to the table, and Lisa said, oh, well, there's coffee. I said, oh, is there tea? It was a cold, rainy day. I wanted some hot tea. And she said, well, there's water, but there's no tea bags. And so I said, okay, it's all right. I won't have anything, because I didn't want to have juice. I didn't want to have anything sugary. And I certainly didn't want to have the caffeine from coffee. Tea would have been a good happy medium. And someone came over to me, his name was James, and said, oh, did you want me to get you something to drink? I said, I saw that there was hot water over there, but I didn't see any tea bags. Oh, okay, well, let me go take a look. And he ended up bringing it over to me after we had gotten seated. This guy was very attentive. There were a few folks there that were very, very helpful in helping us get what we needed and whatever the case may be. Now, there were some sighted folks with us. Lynn's husband was there. Simon's mother was there. In fact, we rode out with her and Simon, Lisa and I did. And it was just a great 2-hour stretch of time where we talked about the issues that we face and what could go on if things worked better. How, and I've mentioned this a lot of times here, a lot of things take us a longer time to do whatever it is we need to do. Whether it's because we have to navigate to a specific spot on a form where if you're sighted, you kind of scroll around and you look and you click. With us, we kind of have to go step by step until we get to that section, and that's when we can move forward. And again, a lot of other things take time. It's just how it is. It's just every blind person that I've talked to, we're all in the same boat. But the fact that they listen to us and are going to follow up with us and talk to us as they move forward with doing certain things with the website for the Commonwealth, or websites for the Commonwealth, I should say, that was very cool. And that was the greatest takeaway from the 2 hours that we were there. The fact that they, care what we think and how we can make it better, and how it will make things better for not just us, for all blind and visually impaired folks. I can't tell you how many times someone has said to me, oh, blind people don't need to access that website. What would they need that for? Well, you don't know what a blind person does or can do. As I've mentioned before in the Keystone chapter, there's a girl who's a chemical engineer. There's a girl who's a school teacher. There's a guy that works for the IRS. There's a lot of folks that do a lot of different things. So you can't say, oh, they're blind, they can't do that. Just last week, Jane and I were talking, and the place that she used to work at had a job opening. I said, you don't think I could do that? No, I don't think you can, she said. And I thought, are you sure? I'd like to try. She said, no, you wouldn't be able to do it. It's too fast-paced. There's too much sight that's needed to do with, for example, doing send-outs. A send-out is where you send to an influencer. You might send every item in a brand's line, or sometimes it's only a couple of things, but a lot of the packaging looks similar or might be identical, other than the words that, I don't know, it's all beauty stuff. So you can see I don't have beauty stuff on me right now. The only thing I have is some dog saliva from Ziggy licking my head. So she said I couldn't do it. And I fear that that is the general thinking of sighted folks when they think of blind and visually impaired folks. And the NFB has an issue with saying visually impaired. I'm not going to change every couple of years what I'm going to be called. I just can't see. But again, like I always like to say, just because I can't see doesn't mean I can't do. You have to give folks a chance. And maybe beauty's not the right thing that would hold my interest enough to make me want to stick with something if I'm struggling with it. If it were something sports related, sure, maybe I'd want to stick with that longer, whatever it might be. But I like to try to do things. And that's why I went to the Pirates game a few weeks ago. That's why I like to, when I walk into a place that I've never been, I just walk around to take a look around and see what's there and how it sounds and what I can see and what I can't see. And again, as I've mentioned before, seeing a little is better than seeing none. And in one of the upcoming clips that I have, you'll see what I mean by that. So web accessibility is so important. And again, the fact that the First Lady has taken an interest, I'm hoping, and we're all hoping, that this is the push that gets the Commonwealth's websites up and, I don't want to say perfect, but good enough for someone who's blind can maneuver through whatever it might be they need to maneuver through, whether it's a form for something. There's an unemployment form that is not accessible. Everyone that I know who has been laid off or let go, or whatever you want to say, where they've been they've been unattached from their work and they file for unemployment, they can't file on their own because of the lack of accessibility on that form. And if you can't do that and you don't have somebody, how do you file? How do you do it? And I don't know what the answer is there. You have to call a friend, and some of the stuff is pretty sensitive data that you don't want to just say, hey, buddy, come here. Could you help me fill out? Oh, yeah, my social security number, it's whatever. Oh, my mother's maiden name, it's whatever. And so you need someone that you trust and that you know and that will help you do exactly what you need to do. So what we're going to try now, and I'm going to try, my goal has been to shorten the episodes, because I feel that because as the podcast went on for quite a while and we had listeners stay till a certain spot, I want to try and shorten the episodes to a point where they're still a decent length and have a good content, but aren't an hour long. Because again, who wants to look at this for an hour, right? And if you're listening via podcast, I was circling my face with my hand. So the first item that I have is what I was talking about with Ticketmaster. Now, what you'll see here in the screen recording, I've gone to the site and you can hear that it doesn't allow me to, and I don't know what's on the page. I didn't do what I did in the next clip from a different site. I've been more cognizant now when I go to a site and it's not accessible to do a screen recording, not to talk over it, figuring I can talk over it when I show it here, or if it's a standalone video, if it's long enough, if I'm filling out a long form or what it might be. But in the Ticketmaster video, you can see I can't get to Almost Monday in Philadelphia. Almost Monday is a band. They're from San Diego. I really like them. Last year they had my favorite song of the year according to Spotify, which is something because Jane and I shouldn't say Jane and I. My Spotify account is on Jane's Amazon Prime account. So on all of our Alexa devices, when you ask the A-Lady to play a song from Spotify, it goes into my account. I'm not a big fan of Harry Styles. I don't hate him. I'm not a big fan of the 1975. In fact, one of my favorite songs is Chocolate. But there's some songs that I really don't like, and I'm not a fan. I'm just not a fan overall. I'm not a fan of Charlie XCX. And there's bands like that aren't my music. And last year, some of the top artists on my list were the ones Jane played. So that's a little frustrating. And because we share the Amazon device or devices, we have two here in our place. She has one in her apartment in New York. Now, the cool thing is you can make one of those announcements that goes to all of them. And that kind of is cool. Although I did it once when she was on a call with clients. So that wasn't cool, but it was funny. When I saw that, when I got the email in my account, I thought, oh, let me see where and when they're going to be playing. I think it was February 18th. I don't know where in Philadelphia. Actually, I think the email said the Foundry, which is a cool little place above, I can't remember the main place. The Foundry holds a few hundred people. It's on top of another place that holds about 2,000 or 2,500. It's in Northern Liberties, I believe. And it's just, I love going to the Foundry because it's small. There's not a bad place to stand. And it's just a lot of fun. It's not crazy expensive to get there, although it's not cheap. And Liz probably won't go because we don't like to, as we've talked about many times, both here as well as to friends, we don't do a lot of things together anymore because we don't want to leave Ziggy crated up for long periods of time. So as you can see in this video, I can't make the purchase. I can't do it.
Almost Monday. Heading level 1. Get
so
artist
here
updates.
I'm at the
Button.
page.
Selected. Events. Tab. Artist info. Tab. List. Upcoming events nearby Swarthmore.
You can see that I'm moving forward, and usually you swipe to the right to get to the next link or header or
2025
whatever.
The Foundry Vertical Line Philadelphia. PA almost Monday. The dive tour upgrades available. Upcoming events nearby Swarthmore. Upcoming events
And
nearby
once it
Swarthmore.
gets to
Page
almost
2
Monday and
Page 1
upcoming
of 8.
events, I
Get
can't
artist updates.
click
Button.
on
Selected.
that.
Events. Tab. List start.
And
Artist
it
info.
treats it
Tab.
all
List.
as
Selected.
one
Event.
item.
Selected. Events. Selected. Almost artist info.
And I try to
Upcoming
double
events nearby
tap to get
Swarthmore.
it,
Upcoming
and
events
it
nearby
just
Swarthmore.
doesn't
Upcoming
work.
events nearby Swarthmore.
And I do apologize for not slowing down the speed of the
Upcoming events nearby
voiceover.
Swarthmore.
I have it at
PA February
70.
8,
That's what I
2025 The
typically
Foundry Vertical
listen
Line
at. If
Philadelphia.
you're
PA
listening
almost Monday.
faster,
The dive tour
I
upgrades available. Code
apologize.
check. Almost Monday. Not a concert ticket. All upcoming events Friday.
It's
OCT
just
18
very
ton Valley Moonshine
frustrating.
Vertical Line Moonshine. Germany The Driver Era. Ex-girlfriend. Upcoming events nearby Swarthmore. PA February
Finally,
8.
I gave up.
Voiceover off.
And that was
Voice
after
partner store
this
and slash or
happened,
absent. Partner store and slash or I accept. Button. Reject all. Button. Reject all.
where I tried to do
The
it
driver
by
era.
shutting
Ex-girlfriend tour.
voiceover
Heading
off
level
and
1.
tapping somewhere on the screen.
Ton Valley Moonshine. Page 2 of 5. Page
And
1
that
of 5.
got to something
Toolbar.
more
Back.
recent.
Button. App promotion banner. Web dialog. Close
Coming
banner
up.
app logo live name. Upcoming events nearby Swarthmore. PA February 8, 2025 The Foundry Vertical Line Philadelphia. PA almost Monday. The dive tour upgrades available. Code check. Almost Monday. Upcoming events nearby Swarthmore.
Now, when I was on a website today, a cookie notice popped up. Here's the other clip.
Close this website uses cookies. This website uses cookies. Close this website uses cookies. This vertical scroll bar. Close this website. Close this website uses page 2 of 48. Page 1 of 48. Page 1 of close. This website uses cookies. This website show details. Button. Show details. Button. Close this website uses cookies. This website uses cookies to improve user experience. By using our website, you consent to all
I could
cookies in
not
accordance with our cookie policy.
navigate to
Read
the
more. Opens a new
reject
window.
all
Cookie declaration
button.
about cookies. Strictly necessary. Strictly
I'm
necessary.
trying
Cookies allow
to,
for
as you
website
can
functionality
hear.
such as user login
And I
and
figure
account
if I
management.
listen
The
to the
website cannot be
end,
used properly without strictly necessary cookies. Name CF
maybe I can get to it.
domain Cloudflare Incorporated. .neilpiddle.com expiration 1 year description clearance cookie stores the proof of Cloudflare's challenge passed. It is used to no longer issue a challenge if present. It is required to reach an origin server. Name WordPress _test _cookie provider /domain.
So I listened to all this,
.neilpiddle.com expiration session
thinking it's going to get me to the
name _subscribers
button that I need and tell me which the buttons do what.
Information about toolbar. Share. Button. Share.
But it
button.
doesn't.
Close this website uses cookies. This website uses cookies to improve. Close this website uses cookies. Vertical scroll
I could
bar.
either close
this
it, as you
website uses
hear,
cookies. This website uses cookies to improve user experience. By using our website, you consent to all cookies in accordance with our cookie
or
policy.
nothing
Read more.
else.
Opens a new window. Cookie declaration about cookies. Strictly necessary. Strictly necessary cookies.
Or I
allow for
could have
website
hit that
functionality
read
such as
more,
user
which I
login and
didn't
account
need
management.
to.
The website cannot be used properly.
And
Screenshot.
took a
Button.
screenshot.
Facebook/icon/arrow down. Full page. Button. Delete. Button. Markup.
Now I'm going to take it into Be My
Delete. Share.
Eyes.
Button. Dismiss pop-up. Michelle and Emily. Page
As
3
you
of
can
5.
see,
Save to files.
you click on
Create watch
share.
space. Save.
I'm going to
Recognize
scroll
with CML.
down.
Recognize with NFB News. Import to Adobe Scan. Describe with Fire Access 8. Find products on Amazon. Search on Google. Button. Describe with Be My Eyes. Button. Describe. Playbook/icon/arrow. Please wait. Be My AI is writing a message.
Going to take a minute.
Be My AI. The image shows a cookie consent. Be My AI. The image shows a cookie consent pop-up on a website. At the top, it says this website uses cookies followed by a brief explanation. This website uses cookies to improve user experience. By using our website, you consent to all cookies in accordance with our ellipsis. Below this, there are 2 tabs, Cookie Declaration and About Cookies. The Cookie Declaration tab is selected. Under this tab, there is a section titled Strictly Necessary with a description. Strictly necessary cookies allow core website functionality such as user login and account management. The website cannot be used properly without strictly necessary cookies. There is a toggle switch next to this description, which appears to be in the off position. At the bottom of the pop-up, there are 3 buttons, Accept All, Decline All, and a prominent orange button labeled Save and Close. The website URL at the bottom is _neilpiddle.com. Cancel button.
So now I forget what I needed to
The image shows a cookie
click
consent
on.
pop-up on the website.
And
At
I
the
have
top,
it read
says
to
this
me
website uses
again.
cookies followed by a brief
Now again,
explanation.
I could
This
see
website uses
the
cookies to improve user
big
experience.
orange
Using our
button at
website,
the
you consent
bottom,
to
and
all
I
cookies in
could
accordance
make
with our
out the
ellipsis.
outlines of
Below
the
this,
2
there are 2
buttons
tabs,
above
Cookie
it.
Declaration and About Cookies. The Cookie
And you'll
Declaration
see
tab is
once I
selected.
go
Under this
back,
tab, there is a section titled Strictly Necessary with a description. Strictly necessary cookies allow core website functionality such as user login and account management. The website cannot be used properly without strictly necessary cookies. There is a toggle switch next to this description, which appears to be in the off position. At the bottom of the pop-up, there are 3 buttons, Accept All, Decline All, and a prominent orange button labeled Save and Close. The website URL at the bottom is
okay, there's where I realized, okay, I needed the one on the right. And so I cancel.
/icon/arrow down. 8.4. Share.
And
Button.
I
Delete.
hopefully
Button.
deleted this.
Delete.
Yeah.
Are you sure you delete screenshot?
Screenshot. And now I can go back in,
Playbook
shut off
/icon/arrow
voiceover,
8.40. Voiceover off.
and then I know I can click the button that is right above the big orange button on the right side, and boom, I get rid of it.
Voiceover
And then
on.
I can go
Actionable
in
SEO worksheets,
and go back to what
templates,
I
and
was
spreadsheets.
doing.
Heading level 1.
So you can see how difficult it is and how there are some workarounds. Now, when I was doing the Almost Monday thing, I didn't think about, hey, do a screenshot like I had just done in the last clip and listen to see what the buttons were so I could shut voiceover off, touch where I think I needed to touch. Now, with the Ticketmaster video, I couldn't tell what was what. With the other clip, I could see that there was one colored box and then there were 2 other smaller boxes above it. And when I listened to Be My Eyes tell me what was the one on the right was the one I wanted, I mean, it didn't know that. When it said what it was, I knew that's what I needed to tap. I could see where I needed to tap. I couldn't read what it said, but I could see enough to see where I needed to tap. And that's the big difference between having a little bit of sight and having no sight. And that's how important it is for someone who is blind or visually impaired. Now, a lot of folks, I happened to think of it when I got to that site today, but a lot of folks don't quickly think, oh, I could just do a screenshot and then take a look and listen to what I need. Like I've done on the SEPTA train platform when I want to know what's the next train to arrive or whatever it might be. That is a workaround that we have. But again, like I was saying earlier, it makes the task longer because I've got to get to that page that I need. I then have to do the screenshot. I then have to take the screenshot into Be My Eyes, which is easy enough when you take a screenshot. As you know, one of the things that you can do is share. And so you share it, and then one of the options in share is Be My Eyes. And again, Be My Eyes is a free download and free to use. So give it a try. You can see how it is. Once you install it, you can see that when you do the share and you go below your most recent contacts and then the settings for mail or messages or some other things, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, if you keep scrolling down, for me, it's near the bottom and it says, read with Be My Eyes. And so that makes it easy, but that all adds time. So if I'm trying to do something in a hurry, it's very difficult to do something in a hurry. And that's when mistakes happen, when you try to do something quickly and you don't listen or you don't pay attention enough because you're already thinking, hey, what do I have to do next after I figure out what this is? And that's where it's an issue. But again, like I said, it takes longer than if I could hold my phone and look, oh yeah, there it is. The third one down is the button I need. I can't do that. And as you saw in the Ticketmaster video, I don't know how I would get around that because I just saw a bunch of different things listed. And to me, they all looked the same. Whether they were the same or not, I don't know. So it would be helpful. And maybe I'll revisit in the next video. I'll show you if I revisit that. Or as I've mentioned, I'm going to do more items like that to show you, and other things in general, how blind people do stuff. I think about it every day when I'm making lunch, when I want to know how much water to put in the pitcher that I'm making my iced tea in. I put 3 tea bags in and I put 650 grams of boiling water in. And sometimes I do a little more, sometimes I do a little less, but I know 650 is the number I want to be around. So I use the scale for that. Now, again, if you've got sight, you're looking at the measuring cup and you say, oh, there's, again, I have no idea what it's equivalent to an actual measurement is in the liquid measurement. But I know that 650 is the number for me. Don't know what that's equivalent to in quarts and pints and ounces. Don't know. It doesn't matter. I found what works and that's what I use. Same thing goes when I brew hot tea. I know that my tea mug holds around 900 grams of water, of boiling water, and boiling water and cold water have 2 different weights, by the way. I know that I need to get to that number. 900 is the magic number. Now, sometimes I get to 880 and it looks like the tea is going to overflow because maybe I put too much tea in the tea basket. But I know generally that's what I need to do. And that's one of the things that is the workaround. Looking for spices in the cabinet. I can't look at the thing. And sometimes they're even hard to read with my camera, with my phone. So I will, I got to smell what it is. And, if I smell it and I can't breathe that day or my nose is clogged up, well, I got to hope for the best. Or the other thing is I put them in the same spot. So if somebody moves them, like I've told you before with the blueberries in the fridge, if somebody moves my blueberries, I might think we don't have any. If somebody moves the turmeric from where it is, I might end up putting cinnamon in my omelet instead of the turmeric, in which case then would that kind of be like a French toast omelet, right? So there's a lot of different things and a lot of different ways we do things. And I'm hoping to show you how that all plays out. I had a GoPro, which I've used and I've shown video of it. The Eclipse video that from a few episodes ago from back in April, I shot that with the GoPro. Well, something's going on with the audio. Sometimes it's very staticky. Sometimes the audio has a weird hum to it. Not sure what the issue is. I may just buy a new one. They're cheap enough. And I originally got them because they're cheap, they're light. And I thought because you can jump out of airplanes with them and go mountain biking with them and go surfing with them, I thought that they would be a sturdy device. Maybe not. So I haven't found out what the reasoning is for the sound, and I'm past my window to return it or get any kind of warranty work. I believe I've had it about a little over a year and a half. So I'm hoping to have a new one. I'm going to New York in about a week to go to Laugh for Sight. I'm hoping to go to B&H Photo. Maybe I'll get the GoPro before that. Maybe I'll get an idea of what's wrong with the other one, so we'll know and I won't have to get a new one. But I'm hoping to show different things like that on the channel here on YouTube. And I don't know that they would translate into podcasts or not, but we'll see once I make them. And that's been the big struggle. A lot of things going on. State convention, as I mentioned earlier, is coming up, and there's just been a lot there. Just a lot. It's been it's been mentally exhausting. And it's in about 2.5 weeks. I'm so excited for that to happen so that we can go to it and then come home. For where we live here in suburban Philadelphia to Erie, it's going to be somewhere between 8 and 10 hours on a bus because there's no transport that goes there in any kind of way. There's no train. There's no bus service. Now, I'm thinking you could play connect the dots with the bus, but the NFB has chartered a bus so that we can go, and we're doing a little bit of connecting the dots from Philadelphia to Allentown to Harrisburg to State College to Erie. And again, if you don't know where Erie is in respect to Philadelphia, it's the Commonwealth equivalent of going from Miami to Seattle. So if you know where Miami is down in Florida, and you know where Seattle is up in Washington near Canada, and it's on a diagonal like you measure your TV screens, that's how it is in Pennsylvania from Philadelphia on the lower right to Erie on the upper left. It's just how it is. It's far, and I am looking forward to being in Erie. I've never been there before. I always like to investigate new places, like I mentioned, so I'm looking forward to that. And I'm hoping to have some video from that, again, whether it's with the GoPro that I have or a new one. Now, the problem is, and I'll link to them in the show notes, I have a GoPro Hero 11 Black. The GoPro Hero 12 Black came out about a year ago, and this year the GoPro Hero 13 Black came out. And so you're thinking, why not just get a 13? Well, in their thinking, the GoPro batteries have changed. So that means the 3 or 4 batteries that I have for my Hero 11, useless. The mod, I forget what, media mod, which is something that goes around the camera where you can hook a shotgun mic up to it or a light up to it, whatever it might be. Doesn't work. Can't use it. So all that extra money that I've put into the Hero 11, I could maybe get a Hero 12, and I don't know what I'm going to do. That's why I'm hoping to go to B&H when I go up to New York for Laugh for Sight on the 28th, that I can at least take a look and, get some ideas. Should I do this? Should I just basically throw away or sell the battery charger and the extra batteries that I have? Well, all the batteries that I have and the media mod and that stuff, and just start over with the 13. And then what kind of issues are there going to be with the 13? I'd rather honestly just get the 11 because it's a lot cheaper, less than $250. And all the other stuff that I already have works with it. But we'll see. We'll see when I go either to B&H or whatever I end up doing, finding out from GoPro. But I'm looking forward to all of those things, going to New York, going to Erie. And of course, I'll tell you about it once it happens. But again, it was so exciting to be at the governor's residence, at the governor's mansion, where the governor lives in Harrisburg, meeting with the first lady. Very cool. But the reason we were there was the best, because they cared and they want to make things better. And that's the only thing that we can ask. If you have a desire to fix it, that's half of the battle. Some people say, well, what's a blind person going to do with this? or that. It doesn't matter. Make it work for us, and then we'll determine whether we want to do this or that. Because I guarantee you there's somebody that wants to do that. And that's why it's so important. So it was a very good day out there. And it was just very, I don't want to say inspirational, but it made me feel really good. When we got home, we talked on the way home, we talked afterwards about it, and it was just a great day. So we really appreciate Lori Shapiro, the First Lady of Pennsylvania, for inviting us. Ellen Strom, thank you for setting that up. Again, outstanding stuff. And I really wanted to get some video while I was there, but I was kind of afraid to ask if I could do that. In fact, I don't know. There's going to be some photos coming out. We haven't gotten them yet. They actually had a photographer there. So obviously, once those come out, I will share them with you, and you can see what the story is there. But I really do appreciate you listening to episode 273 of iCantCU. Please visit the website, iCantCU.com/273 for the show notes, links that I've talked about, and a lot of other good things over on the website at iCantCU.com/273, numerically speaking. And remember, iCantCU sounds like a whole sentence, but it's only 7 characters long. iCantCU.com/273. Please reach out on the socials at David Benge on Facebook and Instagram and X and Twitter, which are the same thing, and Threads, same as Instagram and Facebook, and YouTube, where you can listen to this episode, and on LinkedIn at David Benge. If you want to watch this, if you're listening right now and you say, yeah, I'd like to see what Studio B looks like, go over to youtube.com/ that's the @ iCantCU. And again, 7 letters, iCantCU. And that's where you'll find all the videos that I've done for this podcast. I started at the beginning of the year. Please, I'd love to hear from you. Please reach out, iCantCUpodcast@gmail.com, iCantCUpodcast@gmail.com. Let me know what you've got on your mind, questions, comments, show ideas, things that you have done that may be helpful to other folks who are blind or visually impaired. I'd love to hear from you. Again, iCantCUpodcast@gmail.com, or better yet, please give a call, 646-926-6350. You've got up to 3 minutes. Leave your name and your town if you do leave a voicemail. And tell me your question, comment, show idea, tip, trick, something about the governor of your state or the governor of Pennsylvania. The election's coming. I don't want to talk about it because I've heard enough with all the ads. So let's just steer clear of that. But please reach out, 646-926-6350. I'd love to hear from you and have your thoughts. Be well, stay safe, and I'll talk to you in the next episode.
Thank you for listening to the iCantCU podcast with David. Please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen. And don't forget to share the podcast with your friends.